Alright, today I'm going to make a 10-inch pipe to go around an 8-inch hot pipe on the standing seam roof we're doing. And it's going to be on 11/12 pitch. I'm going to start out doing everything from scratch, even though I've already got a pattern for a 10-inch pipe on 11/12 pitch. I'm going to show you how to lay one out. Start by making a side view of 11/12 pitch, and then the top view of a 10-inch pipe. See, I've already made it, and I've broken the 10-inch pipe down into equal sections, just taking half the diameter and breaking the pipe down like so. So this is what's called your top view, as you're looking down on a 10-inch pipe. And from here, I'm going to connect the lines down into this 11/12 pitch. That'll develop the side view and give you your distances to lay out the pipe as it goes up the roof and tapers. So I went ahead and just connected these lines by just squaring up from the bottom, and then up here just connecting these points where I broke the circle down. So now if you look at it, you can kind of see that this would be the top of the pipe. This would be the upper end of the roof on the back side of the pipe. Down the pitch, this would be the distance on the front edge of the pipe. So now I can take these lines and transfer them to a piece of metal to develop this pattern here. Like you'll see, like this distance, which would be the back of the pipe, would be equal to like this distance, and this longer distance would be the center of the pipe, right directly in the front of it. I trace that out with a black marker just so you kind of get the gist of what I'm looking at. So to go from the top view, breaking it down on the 11/12 pitch, then squaring them lines down, these distances will get transferred to the pipe to help develop the curve in it for the pitch of the roof. Okay, I got my piece of metal I'm gonna make my pattern out of. It's just a piece of scrap aluminum I had kicking around, and it's at 32.4 inches, which is just over 32 3/8, which is the circumference of a 10-inch pipe. If you remember back in math class, the circumference in pi, you got 3.14 inches for every 1 inch of diameter. So at 10-inch diameter, I have 31.4 inches plus 1 inch for my pipe lock, which is how I lock my pipes together, which adds a 1/2 inch to each side. So this piece is 32.4, which is just over 32 3/8. So I took that 32.4 minus my 1 inch, so it's 31.4, which is the circumference of a 10-inch pipe, and divided it by 12, which is these equal spaces. You get 2.616. So I like to use a micrometer for this. I can get it pretty accurate versus using those hand ones. So I set that to 2.616. I'm going to start by putting a 1/2 inch scribe here, which is going to be one side of my pipe lock. So I did my 1/2 inch scribe, and I came 1/2 inch across the bottom too, just to give myself room. Then I already did this, but just go across marking these out in equal distances all the way across. When you get done, it should leave you roughly a 1/2 inch on the end for your other pipe lock. Now that I got these, I'm gonna square up just with a straight edge, a 2-foot square, and just square all these lines up to the top. Okay, so I went ahead and squared all these lines up. I have all these vertical lines. What I'm gonna do with those is I'm gonna set these hand ones to these distances and transfer them onto these distances. So like with the end, this distance, which would be this distance, I'm gonna set them, scribe that line. Go to the next one, set it, scribe that line, and so on. So the center one here would be the longest distance all the way to the other end, which would be the back of the pipe again, which would be this distance. When it gets done, the shape will kind of look something like that. See, I take that distance from the back of the pipe, and I punched holes just to help set these in to make it easier. Set it and you scribe that distance. Because this is the back of the pipe, you'll do it on this side. You do the same to the other side. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this for all these lines. So like the next one, I'll go to this one, to that one, get that distance, and go to the next line over, and so on. And we'll continue when I get that done. I finished doing that, and I have my marks going all the way across. Now I'm just going to take kind of curve those in because they're not straight. Missed a little on there. Kind of watch it through the camera and trying to do this. But that gives you that curve that this has. So if I set this pattern in there, it's almost lined up exactly. Now I'm not going to cut this one out that I just made because I already have this one. I just did that to show you guys how you develop a pattern for it, and you can do this with any size pipe, any roof pitch. You just follow those steps, and it's got a different pitch roof. Draw it according to whatever the pitch is. That just means it goes up 11 inches and out 12. That gives it 11, 12. If it was a 6-12, you would come up 6 down to that 12. And the same thing, depending on your pipe size, you can go bigger pipe, smaller pipe. So use this for any size pipe, any roof pitch. Now that I have my pattern, I'm going to transfer that to the actual material. So I'm going to save my patterns. That way I don't have to do this every time I need a 10-inch pipe on 11-12 pitch. I don't have to redo that every time. I already got it made and I save them. I got them all hanging up there with other patterns that I use. A lot of them I'll never use again, but save them just in case. So the material I'm using is a dark bronze. So this is a chunk of dark bronze. I've already cut it to 32.4 inches. So now I can just take my pattern, set it on here, trace it, and cut it out. So I took and traced that pattern onto the piece of metal that I'll be using for the pipe. You can see I made a mark at the top. That's exact center. I do that so that the guys in the field, they're gonna put this pipe into a standing seam pan. So I'm not making any type of flange. If I was gonna put this on a shingle or a slate roof, I would put it into a pan using clinch locks here in the shop, but they're gonna, for a standing seam roof, they're gonna lock it into the pan on the field. So I marked out center for them. So that helps them center the pipe on their pan when they go to install it in the field. Now I'm gonna cut this out. All right, I got it all cut out. And I peeled the plastic back a little bit so when I run it through the pipe lock, it just doesn't get all gummed up, makes it easy. And I want to fold this back after to protect it. I'll try to keep it neat so after I run it through I can fold it back. Let's go run it through our pipe lock, which just puts a lock on it so that you can lock the pipe together, I guess is why you call it a pipe lock. But this is my machine that does it. I'll try to do this one-handed so that you can see how it's done. Square your edge up on here. Run it through one way, then you flip it over and you do it the other so that the locks are opposite, so they'll lock together. I'll show you what that looks like. Locks them, bends them over so you can lock them. Then I'll take the piece over here. This is my pipe roller. This will roll as small as 4 inches up to whatever you need. I hand set it. Hopefully I got it close, but I usually got to adjust it a little bit after.